Good morning, Flosstube. This is Michelle at the Striped Rose. This is Ramsey's. Hector's here too. We thought that we would try a new background for you. So there might be some pets coming and going. So it hasn't been very long since my last podcast, just a few weeks ago. August 8th was podcast 24. So I don't have that much to show you, but so that may make it more manageable. So I wanted to show you my August journal, and apparently it was a kitten stitcher month. I guess I got a couple packages from Kitten Stitcher, and I peeled those stickers off. This one, that red work sampler that came from Kitten Stitcher, she included it. And then this one, which is like a crochet lace sticker. I thought that was really pretty. And this is just such a great way to keep up with those things that come in. So this is September. My stickers aren't sticking on September. I don't have a lot of variety because I had a plan for, I've had a succession of plans, let's say that. But first of all, I want to talk about red samplers because that's my favorite thing to talk about right now is red samplers besides Hector. Hector's always number one. I got a couple of things back from the framer. I was told about this framer by some Georgia Stitchers, and I've been getting a lot of things framed, and I haven't had things framed in years and years because of the expense, because of some disappointments. Sometimes I still look at those things and they may need to get reframed. But this framer does a very good job. I went in there the very first time and said, I want cheap frames. I want inexpensive frames. I want glass. I get conservation glass because of the UV damage. And the main reason that I get glass is because I dust in this house. And I see what accumulates. I see what accumulates on my frames. I have 3 cats. I have 2 dogs. It gets very dusty. The dogs go in and out. It gets very dusty. There's dog hair and cat hair on everything. There's Michelle hair and Bella hair on everything. That's why I get glass. If you don't need glass because your house is not a zoo, or because your husband doesn't leave the windows open year round and your house is filled with pollen and red clay particles, then I envy you. So I like small, simple frames, small wood looking simple frames. And I've gotten a lot of things framed in the past couple of years, and a lot of them have the same simple frames, and that's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. So this is one of the red samplers that I got back. Sorry about the glare. This is the Good Mother to the Good Mother on her birthday with love, Clara Mueller. And this is a reproduction sampler that I got from European Reproduction Samplers, Sabina Tatera. I ordered it from Europe, and I've ordered quite a few more, and I love it. I really do. Okay, so that is, I have a red sampler wall. I have a blue sampler wall. Some blue, there's blue in it. I have a red sampler wall. I have a pink sampler wall, and these are very loose terms. And then I'm working on my great aunt sampler wall. So that's pink, red, pink, blue, great aunt, and then I have schoolgirl, European schoolgirl samplers. So this is German, and I said last time I've been trying to alternate German, French, but on one of the Facebook groups, it may be Sampler Heart, that's the one I use the most on Facebook. someone generously charted and gave as a free gift to the group a Spanish sampler and a red Spanish schoolgirl sampler, and it has a train on it, a little bitty train on it, and I'm very attracted to that one, and that one is on the list. So this is the other red schoolgirl sampler that I got framed. Viola Martini. And I get annoyed, especially I get annoyed because a lot of the German schoolgirl samplers have navy blue on them. Several of the French ones that I've seen, the letters have some this greeny gold color. And I just want red and white. I just want red and white. That being said, this looks fabulous on the wall with just red and white samplers. Just this little bit right here, I think provides some contrast that looks really nice on the wall. And I'll show you in a minute a German one that has a little bit of this kind of thing up at the top. So I think that'll be a really nice complement. So, red schoolgirl stitchers and European reproduction sampler. They're not all red. There are a great many red ones because I think that the lady who charts it really likes schoolgirl samplers, but there's a lot of different things on there, and they don't have American ones. They have some British ones. There's a map of the British Isles that I'm very, very attracted to, that I'd love to do, and I'd love to somehow do a map of Georgia in that style. That would be really nice. Okay, so the red sampler that I'm working on now is Alice Lott's. She didn't get any work at all last week because I got obsessed with something else. But so my goal is 2 red threads a day. If I can only do 1, I don't force myself. Sometimes I sit down and I do 4 or 5 because I get really excited. What I try to do is I start at the top and I do a thread across, and then I go down and do a thread across, and then I go down and down and down, add a new line, and then go back up to the top. That's kind of how I do the alphabet samplers, so I don't get stalled out just going straight across. So this is a big one, and there's a lot of space, and that's good and bad because you can't really carry the threads. I don't feel comfortable carrying the threads. The space is just like 1 or 2 spaces more than I'm comfortable carrying. I'm comfortable carrying over 2 spaces, 2 stitches. And so these are going to be 3 and 4, just to mess with me. The border is no joke. It's not difficult. It just takes a long time. Going down is a lot easier than going across. So this is where I was working this morning before I decided to do the podcast. I was working on the top, and then I finished this one, then I'll do a thread here, I'll go down and I'll go down, and then I'll try to hit what's next. So this, I did Clara Mueller, and then I worked on this one. And then I have some plans. And I've shared some of the plans with you. I did an order European reproduction samplers. It's in euros. So it's going to be more dollars than it is euros. Slightly more dollars than euros. That's how I do my monetary conversion. So the shipping was like, I don't know if it was 8 or 10 euros or 8 or $10. The shipping was, it came from Europe. And the charts, each chart comes, the bigger charts come in this plastic envelope. And some of the smaller ones that I got came in this. Okay. come in this plastic envelope. So I don't know what to do with these. I don't want to throw these out. If I scrapbooked, I didn't put it in airplane mode. If I scrapbooked, you know, I would think, oh, these would be great for alphabet stickers or, you know, different stickers. My scrapbook stuff is already organized, sitting there, untouched, organized. But so I don't know, what could I do with these? I don't want to waste those. All right, so the next one that I want to do is Louise Local, not sure. And there are two colors of red in this, which I really, really think looks like a nice contrast. I'm very attracted to these flowers right here. I don't like backstitch, but I do like black work. So I'm looking forward to doing that one. So I think this one will be, you know, a smallish one. So that's next. Then I've already told you, I think I ordered this from Kitten Stitcher. This will be after my German girl. I'll do this French girl, Antonetta Bovey. You can get this at Country Sampler. I got it from Kitten Stitcher. All right, and then I'm just going to show you the next 4 German samplers that I ordered from Sabina. So Hilma Lösner, that's my Appalachian German. I just think this one is neat and tidy, and I like that rose down there at the bottom. It just seems very neat and tidy. I really look for samplers that just generally catch my eye. Also, I like it when the girl's name is very distinctive. I'm an American girl, in the American South. Well, I'm not going to find Michelle on a sampler, I don't think. But, so I have, you know, like I said, if there's an American or an English sampler, I'm probably going to put an American relative's name on that sampler. If it is a German or a Spanish or a French, or I've got one from the Netherlands on the wall, if it's a girl from another country where the language and the culture is very different, then I'm going to go ahead and put that girl's name because I feel like it would match the style of the sampler better. You know, Michelle Bruce wouldn't really match this sampler. I know from genealogy that 3 brothers came to America in 1807, and but I don't know anything. I can't find anything about any women that they were associated with, any German women that they were associated with before they came here in 1807. Just the 3 brothers. But I mean, I would love to know what family names that they had to put on some of these German samplers. My mother-in-law, and she'll go on my I have one picked out for her for my great aunt wall. Obviously, it's not just my great aunts. It's people in my family that are great aunts. It's getting bigger. But the one that was published independently, and then it was published in Sampler Antiques and Needlework Quarterly, it's got the kitten sitting in the middle. Everybody's done it. Everybody's doing it. It's a German sampler with a German girl's name. And my mother-in-law was born and raised in Fredericksburg, Texas. And I don't remember if her parents came from Germany or her grandparents came from Germany. But if you're not familiar with that part of Texas, it's a German, I've never been there. But it's a German community. I know when she was raised there, it was very much a German community. And so I want to put, her name is Catherine, but I want to put her name and her maiden name on that one for my great aunt wall. But anyways, the other thing that I look for besides the girl's name is a phrase. The German samplers have some really amazing phrases on them, and a location and or a school. So I really like that one. All right, so those are the 3 small ones. Then I got 2 larger ones. There are there are many Dresden samplers. To me, it's just amazing that anything survived Dresden. It doesn't necessarily mean, I guess, that the sampler was in Dresden when it was leveled, but the girls may have traveled with their samplers to other places, or I don't know. It'd be interesting to know if these samplers did survive Dresden, but they seem to have this shape and then some sort of border like this, some sort of lacy border around it. And many of them have phrases. This one, I didn't see the English translation. I think it means teacher, learn God to honor, but I'm not really sure if that's what that says, because I couldn't find it. I may just not have been looking right, but I just think that's very striking. And I wanted to have one of those, like you might want a Tennessee sampler. I have a Tennessee reproduction sampler, or a Rhode Island sampler. Well, I wanted a Dresden schoolgirl sampler. Now, this is the one that I'm really excited about. And I looked at it for a long time, and for a long time I was just like, nope, I'm only doing red and white schoolgirl samplers. If it has navy blue in it, I'm changing it to red. I'm not doing any other colors. Nope, I don't want a big long one that's going to take me forever. Nope. I don't know if it's the cat. I don't know what it is. This one's phrase, I think, is God will reward your effort or your hard work or something. But this is the one that I said is sort of the reverse of this one. It has that. So I don't know. I'm just attracted to that. And that's what this is all about, right? Stitching the ones that you're attracted to. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to be able to define what it is. I mean, the cat, yeah. I do love the cat. The harp is beautiful. But that cat, does he have a ball of yarn? Yes, he has a ball of yarn. But also this at the top really attracts me. I think at first I thought, well, maybe I'll just leave that off. No, that really attracts me now. So, I hope you see, I don't know if there is her name and last name. But if you look up European reproduction samplers, her website will come up. And some of the website's in English. Some of the website is in English. All right, so the next ongoing thing I have is that whole Stitch and Ornament a Month. Yeah. So this is what happened. It was the end of August. And this is August Ornament. And I need to do one more row of green under there. And I need to bring the green down there and across there. And I need to put the center in the poinsettias. Last day of August. This is what you need to do, and you'll have an August ornament finish. So, after I finish that, there are 3 things I have planned to do for Christmas stitching. I'm sorry, I haven't felt well the past week, so I may be a little out of it. I got this teeny tiny piece of Brenda's Brew when I had ordered some fabric, I'll show you, from Shepherd's Needle in Arkansas. They have a lot of scrap pieces listed on their website, and this is a lot darker than it's than it's showing up. But anyway, so I found this little piece for $2 on the website, and I thought that would be really good for an ornament. And this one, I've always wanted to make this one right here, and it'll fit. It is by Samplers Not Forgotten, and I'm going to use just an overdyed white with that. These letters are over 1. I'll just 10 stitch them. I mean, it's going to be on a Christmas tree, for crying out loud. So that's the first plan after I finish that Santa. Then this is the next Santa I'm going to do, even though I think he looks like he's broken. I'm going to do that one. And then, if you have not seen Flag Waving Santa by Homespun Elegance, he's a pretty amazing little Santa. And so I've ordered it, and I've been waiting and waiting, and I hope it's going to be here today. So that, I told my mom that will, I wanted to make 6 Prairie Schooler Santas, and that's going to be the 6th, even though it's not a Prairie Schooler Santa. It's similar size, similar idea, and she already loves it, so that's fine. All right, so I took some things to the framer, and the idea that I have is I'll drop things off, and then 2 weeks or so when I pick, they always tell me, they always say, this is going to take us more than 2 weeks, and they always do it in 2 weeks. They always do it in 2 weeks. They're very good. I don't know if they groan when they see me coming, but so the idea is in 2 weeks I will bring more things, and I've got things on my walls. So in my head, I can't just get one thing framed for my blue wall and one thing framed for my red wall. I need to get several things framed for a wall if I'm going to reshuffle. So I have been working on this forever. This is a Sheepish Antiques, which is the reproduction side of Sheepish Designs, and Kitten Stitcher has a ton of these on her website, and you can find them on eBay as well. I've been working on it for years, and the thing is, these satin stitched or surface embroidery flowers, her arms are surface stitched, her hair is surface stitched, but I've done the hard part, because the hard part was all the 1/1. I did this, it's so many years ago that it's on, I don't know if it's on 28, I don't even know if it's on, I did a few things on 26. Is that Linda? I'm not sure. No, this is linen, so, but there's a lot of 1/1 in here. All of this verse is 1/1. There's just random 1/1 here and there. And, there's random 1/1s that I need to go back and fill in because I just didn't. That's 1/1. So I didn't know if I was going to put her name in there, which obviously I've put her name in there. This was a long time ago before I did a lot of name swapping. So what I did, okay, she had put some initials in this last line, X, Y, Z, and so I put my family's initials. Mine, I guess that's a G for Jerry, an I for Isabella, even though those two look a lot alike. And then I'm MT, and Bella is MB. Mary Margaret is MB. So, now this was supposed to be satin stitched, and I just said phooey and cross stitched that. So I had done this yellow one several years ago. I did this blue, I just did it. I don't know. And now I need to do her arm and her hair, and I've got to figure out what sort of eyeballs they're going to have. And then that would be done. So it's just, but this year I did do some more 1/1, and I did do one of those stinker flowers. So that's good. All right, so then I decided to start Catherine Armstrong one day. I just did a one-day start on it. I had gotten this last time, and I started it on August 30th, when I should have been working on that Prairie Schooler Santa. And I started it on a piece of American Chestnut because Laura and Brenda had spoken so highly of it. So I wanted to tell you a couple of things about American Chestnut. You know that I like light mocha by Zweigart, just the plain Zweigart color. It's not ever dyed. And I wanted to compare it for you, but I don't have any with me. Anything you could stitch on light mocha, you could stitch on this, and vice versa. This has a warmer color, not yellow, because I don't like yellow. It's a warmer brown. It's a little light country mocha is more of a watered color of this. So if I had access to this, yes, I could stitch everything on it. So this, I bought the first 5 or 6 silks, and I put them, it was before I started getting a lot of floss drops in the mail for the floss drop trade, which I'm very excited about, and I still owe a few people some, so I made myself a floss drop ring bling, and I put, oh, I guess you want to see the colors. So I want to talk about this color right here, which is NPI, 857. When I started stitching with this, I thought, oh, Laura, the serial starter, is not going to like this at all because she does not like peach. I don't like or dislike peach, really. It doesn't, I don't know, I don't have an opinion about it. And I think that in the piece it'll be fine because I don't think that there's a lot of it other than in the border. But I haven't stitched a lot with NPIs, and they are very pleasant to stitch with, but I miss the overdyed look. I miss the overdyed colors. So I am definitely going to use the ones that I purchased. But what I'd like to do is, because there's 27 silks called for, 27 silks. And I don't want them all to be MPI. I'm going to use the ones I have, and then I'm going to pull the DMC and see if I have an overdyed silk, because I've got some Dinky Dyes and Belle Soie and Gloriana, and I really enjoy using those. I'm going to see if there's something that I have that I could substitute in. I found some that I already had from other projects. So I'm just going to see what happens. I'm just going to see what happens on that. But here is where I started. And there's the peach. And then this is a rosy pink color. And I think in a border, that's going to be very nice. But I started thinking, when I first started stitching it, I was just in my head, I was like, Laura doesn't like this. Laura is not going to like this. And I started wondering about softening the colors. And in my Carolina Broomhead by Plum Street Antiques, there's malted milk. And boy, do I love that malted milk color. And I was wondering if that might be a substitution for this. It would make it more of a soft pink. So anyways, Laura, I don't know. I'm going to go with it because I don't think that there's a lot of it, and I like it. I do like it. What I'd like to do is I'd like to do this one, and then I saw Wendy Pete Ross's From the Heart Needle Arts, her Freitag sampler. I'd kind of like to see if those two looked nice together and put one of my girls' names in one and one of my girls' names in the other, even though my girls are not particularly interested in needlework. Several months ago, Mary Margaret said, "You can't just fill my walls with cross stitch, Mom." And I took that as a challenge, and there's 2 pieces that I got back from the framer that I can't show you because they're on her wall. She had this big empty space. Sorry about that. I don't know what that is. Okay, so my plan for Sampler September. My plan was not to do Sampler September because September I want to start stitching fall. So I was going to stitch fall. No, the lure of Sampler September got me. Okay, so my plan was to pick 3 samplers, and I was just going to somehow alternate them. Oh, no, I wasn't going to do Sampler September. I was just going to do 3 pieces that I wanted to do that aren't samplers and alternate them. So the first one that I was going to do is the Blackbird Designs Seasons. And this is, I have worked on it, I think, since probably just little bitty ticky things that you wouldn't notice. But that's where I am on that. So I was going to work on that, and I was going to work on G Leger, and I was going to work on 1,000 Hills by Plum Street Sampler, and that was going to be my month of September. And then I realized, no, what I want to do is I want to do samplers, just reproduction samplers. And so I thought, well, I'll pick G Leger and I worked on this. I worked on this a lot since my last podcast. Let me see if I can. Okay. I've changed a lot of colors. I bought the Gloriana, most of the Gloriana version of the conversion, because she gives several in the leaflet. And I very quickly realized that they didn't look the way I thought they would look. Do you see this color, this inner chain that's very variegated? It goes through sort of purples and yellows and what I've used for the inner chain. Well, that inner chain was called to be light blue. And the color that I've used for that inner chain, that highly variegated color, was actually what was used, what was called for this cranberry color. And there's several large letters that are cranberry, the bird cranberry. I wanted it to be cranberry. So I got a Dinky Dyes cranberry cocktail. And that's what I've used as my cranberry. But I didn't want to waste that silk that I'd paid for. It's beautiful. So I saw on another blog, someone had run into the same problem, and she said, I wanted to use it. So I decided to use it in the border instead of a light blue all the way through. And I am very, very happy with that. There's a color called Sage, a Gloriana color called Sage. And it has this blue color in it, but it also has this green color in it. And if I were to do this again, it's not going to happen. I can't seem to. So there is a green color called for. And I used a Dinky Dyes Swan Valley, which I really like. I used that. You see when that green color is called for, like here, and then the sage color is called for. There's a lot of green in the sage, and so I don't know that there's enough contrast. Let me see. So there's several places where it calls for the light green, and then it calls for the sage. And sometimes, you do get some good hits of that blue in the sage. but it's still not a lot of contrast between that green and the one that's blue. So the over-dyed cotton that was called for to substitute for this was Brethren Blue. And I wasn't really paying attention to the conversions. And that should have been my first hint that this needs to be significantly more blue. So that's just something to think about when you're going through. The other thing I'm a little upset about, this heart on this cross, when I was looking at pictures of it online, trying to blow it up and get good pictures, this looks like it has the crown of thorns across it. You know, the heart, Sacred Heart of Jesus, the crown of thorns. And it's not charted that way. And obviously I'm not ripping out all this red, all this cranberry. But I want to figure out how I can go over it and do the crown of thorns, because I think that's a significant design element, religious element. I still haven't figured out what I'm doing for the peaches. This house gave me fits. And now that I'm looking at what other people have done, I'm even wondering if this yellow, it's not really it looks more like a shadow. Some people have done it to be even a darker russet color so that it looks more like a shadow. I thought it was just like, I don't know. You can overthink things. You see what I'm doing? I'm overthinking things. Here, the perfect green I thought for this was either Lexington green or the other one that looks just like Lexington green. So when I need, this green I pulled in from Caroline Broomhead. So I don't know. I'm overthinking this one, but I am making a lot of progress in these letters. And so my advice to you, if you want to start this, is just pick a conversion and go with it. Pick one of the 3 or 4 conversions she provides and just go with it. And do not look at anybody else's. Do not look at anybody else's. Or look at everybody. Look at a lot of other ones. Make your decisions and then quit looking. Quit looking at some point, either at the very beginning or, after you've made your color choices. Quit looking at all the other ones, because that'll make you crazy. It's going to be beautiful. When it's up on my wall, nobody is going to compare it to any of the other ones. So I am going to work on this. I'm going to cut down my fabric at some point. I'm going to work on this today. I worked on this the first week. I worked on it a lot in August. I worked on it the first week in September. I messed up and wrote down stuff for this week that I did last week. And so I'm going to work on it this week, and then I'll be able to work on it the last week as well. So I'll work on this one for 3 weeks in Sampler September. What I worked on last week, which was kind of a surprise to me, this was a surprise. I was starting to think, well, maybe I can just do G Leisure all month. And then I started remembering this one, and I don't know what got me started remembering this one. I'm doing this one on a 40 count. There's a hashtag on just Eleanor Whitehouse, spelled with 2 L's and 2 N's. I didn't put the date on the hashtag because Tanya Scarlet House has stitched this and hashtagged it, and I wanted to use her hashtag, but she did this on the 5260 or 50 something, and it looks really, really good on a small count like that. There's no 1/1. Mine is enormous, and that's crazy that a sampler on 40 count is enormous, but I'm using DMCs, mostly the conversion that was given, but also I've tweaked some things. So this is the sampler, and I've still got all the gray words and then the little guys down at the bottom to do. So This is a big sampler on 40 count. This is one of the pieces, I think sometime last year I made myself completely nuts saying if 2 red threads on 1 sampler is great, you know, what about on 2 samplers at a time? What about 2 red threads a day on 3 samplers at a time in a day? But I was doing these red letters that way, and they went really quickly. These are really good letters because you can carry your threads really well. These are eyelets, and I decided I'm just not in the mood for eyelets. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. So I did a Smyrna stitch, then forgot and did eyelets. So then I thought, okay, fine, I'll alternate. Smyrna eyelet, Smyrna eyelet. And then I thought, you know, I'm just not into that. I'm just going to do Smyrnas, and the C and the D. Future generations can figure that one out because that's just the way it's going to be. So I worked on this all week. I mostly worked on filling in things up here, trying to finish. I really wanted to finish the red section last week. But now I'm just doing what I was doing on the other red sampler, do a strand on this line, 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 and then I'll start a new line. And then I'll go back up to the top and just go down because it amuses me. I'm doing DMCs, and these were some older thread drops that I had gotten from Hollis Hands Creates. But there was, when I started the new 3799, the new gray color, I used one of my new floss drops, one of my favorite ones. And Bella actually asked for an unpunched one of these for her. What is it? Her aesthetic, dark academic aesthetic on her desk. She thought that would go well. All right, so I worked on that last week, and I'll work on it next week. This is by Needlework Press, and it is in Sampler and Antique Needlework Quarterly, Fall 2013. Or you can buy the CD, or you can contact the Attic and see if Needlework Press has published it separately. Okay, so the last one that I have to show you is one that I was really hoping to get done, but then I don't have the cover page, but I think you've probably seen it. It's There Is None Righteous by Wildstyra Snaps. And I'm mostly using either the DMCs, like I didn't have Ivy, so I used that DMC for that letter. Mostly using the called for threads, except I'm using German chocolate for the letters, because I was using German chocolate in a sampler I was doing with Kim Goldman, a GGR chart. And I really liked the Swiss chocolate, and I didn't really like the yellow that was in the tiger's eye. I think I just picked a red because I didn't have the red that was called for. So, I mean, this is what's holding me back now is I need to chart my great aunt's name, and I think I'm going to do where they lived. I think I'm going to do the county where they lived, where she grew up. So this is not difficult. You just have to sit down and do it. Amelia Ellis is the name of the Great Aunt sampler. All right, so the last thing I have to show you, the only thing that I've gotten from Hall since I saw you, is I had ordered some fabrics. So here, as I showed you, was the beautiful American Chestnut. I ordered this American Chestnut from Dying to Stitch. I got really excited and I ordered another quarter of American Chestnut from another needlework store, and I got this. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's a very amber color. Very amber. So I don't know if this was a very different dye lot or if it was mislabeled. I mean, I could use it for something, but it's not this, which is what I loved. The other two pieces that I got, well, let's see. I got this Brenda's Brew. It's darker than this. I got this Brenda's Brew from Kitten Stitcher. And then I got another Brenda's Brew from Dying to Stitch. So I like both of them though. I mean, I like both of these. You know, one's just more, is darker, but they're the same. They're both brown. No yellow, no green, no orange, no pink, just brown. So even though they are very different, I like both of them. And I like having the choice between the two. That'll be good. The other one that I got, I ordered from Stitch and Frog. This is Seraphim Fabrics Antique Linen. And on her website it says you can only order a 1/4 yard cut per customer. Not per order, but per customer. So I thought this would be really pretty. Oh, let me show you. There was one more thing. This weekend, I don't know why, but I got a wild hair and pulled back out my For the Birds sale that I'm doing for my mom. And it's wild fabric. It's Picture This Plus Ren, 40 count. It is a lot tighter, and it seems like the dyeing process has accentuated the unevenness of the threads, the thick, thin threads. So I think that's what kind of makes the stitches look bunchy sometimes, is it's just somehow or the other exaggerated the difference in the widths of the threads. So this is wild fabric for me. My mom likes this kind of thing. Another option, if you're not into this wild of fabric, might be, you know, you could use this Seraphim antique linen. I mean, you could use that, I think, on anything. I'm pretty sure you could use, but so that's what I did. I did a bunch Saturday and Sunday, and you know how I like to make plans. I think I'd like that to be a weekend piece for a while, but this is really nice. So I ordered a 1/2 of a yard cut from the company, and Seraphim Fabrics, and I don't know when that will get here, but I just imagine you could stitch anything on that. I didn't have it when I started Catherine Armstrong, but certainly. So I don't know exactly what to stitch on this. I could stitch that sampler that I can't think of the name of that I want to do with my mother-in-law's name on it, with the little cat. You could stitch anything on that. So 48 minutes. This is a short one. I wanted everything to be manageable. So I'm going to go and finish my 2 red threads on Alice Lots and pick all this mess up. I hope you liked the backdrop today. I had tried at one time to get it so that you could see the mantle up there. We like the fall mantle best of the whole year. So, all right. Well, happy stitching.